Good morning, Jerry. How you feeling this morning?
Hey, good morning, Sean, RJ, everybody.
That's
right.
Now
Like
look,
that.
man. You tortured us for a week, having Bobby hang that over our heads for an entire week. McCarthy busted our balls and everything. So thank you for making it even.
God, man, I tell you what, if I thought I could influence things for a week, you can call me Jay or you can call me Ray. Whatever it was, it caused us to have a little winning edge.
Yeah, we're in a good. We only took
good
that. We only took that because y'all dominated so much. We could split the T-shirt proceeds there at the Ford Center. You said you didn't need the plane to fly home after the Giants game. How were you feeling after this Jets performance?
Well, I was so excited. I get to visit, of course, and got to visit there with directly with Coach Mike, and I just can't tell you how proud I am of him and the job he's doing. He's, as I've said many times, I've never seen anybody be as busy as he's had to be during the off season and during training camp, trying to being the head coach, as well as revamping to some degree what we're doing offensively and putting nuances in that are a part of what he is. And it just felt so good for him to have the success he had out there the other night as a play caller and as head coach.
And not only is he looking like a genius, but y'all are looking like geniuses for the hire, Jerry. And I was guilty of this during all the Sean Payton hype and all the topics we do. And RJ always said, we are forgetting what Mike McCarthy has accomplished in this league. We have forgotten what he did in Green Bay and that he has a Super Bowl ring as well. And it seems like he's reminding us at this time.
Yeah, I agree with you. He certainly had skins on the wall, but what the biggest thing was, he had that time away from the game when he was asked to step down there at Green Bay, in a manner of speaking, after having that great success, that Super Bowl win, and having the career he's got. And, boy, he got in there and took those time off and really realized just what it was about to not be in the NFL. Something similar to that is Michael Irvin said that when he rehabbed, had that big knee injury that he had in his second year, he said it's the greatest thing that ever happened to his career because he lived and died every day and realized how much he missed the chance to have that career and be a part of the NFL and be a part of football. And Michael Irvin says that did more for his career than anything was the injury. Well, Mike McCarthy's time off there was a major plus because that man, that mirror you have to deal with, that guy in that mirror, that's the biggest challenge of all.
Jerry, was part of you disappointed that you didn't get to face Rodgers in this game and or the competitor in you wanting, your best against their best, or were you not disappointed at all?
No, I when it gets to game week, game day, I'm just focused on what do we have to do to win the game. Every game is so big in football. You don't have that 80 games. You've got you really are limited on your chance to do it. You're playing 5% of your games or every time you play a game, and so they mean so much. And so the way I'm answering the question is whatever we needed to get past them and win with the Jets, because we had such respect for their team as a whole, still do.
Jerry Jones here on The Fan. I know it's early. Does this feel a little different, though? This 2-0 feel like a little bit more legit and credible than some of the past 2-0s with how good you all have looked?
Yeah, I'm just, first of all, I'm so giddy that we have the players and that they're as prepared as they are. We had an outstanding training camp and got a lot of work in out there. And then we were able to really pinpoint areas that we could really help this team. Drafting Mozzie Smith. Now, there was an outstanding guard there that could have played for us for years, Bergeron, that really probably nailed a need when you look at where we are today. But Mozzie Smith was there to add to what? Our ability to stop that run. You're going to see that evolve and be a big thing for us. Well, to have pinpointed some needs, to have been in a position talent-wise to basically go in there and draft for need was a real luxury and important, and I think it's going to really pay off for us. That's just one example of what you got when you've got the kind of personnel that we're dealing with here.
Jerry, when you talk about the personnel there, and everybody's really excited about this defense and the high level that they're playing at, how much of it is personnel versus you think just you're getting such a great job of coaching these last couple of years out of Dan Quinn and the culture that he's built?
I think it's all there. I think it's very, very important. Of course, there's a lot of talent in the NFL. We all are well aware of that. They're elite. Almost every player out there is, in a manner of speaking, elite. 75,000 young men will play college football this year, and we will draft a little over 300 of them, and in a year or two there won't be but about 100 of those left out of 75,000 that played college football this year. So the talent and the competition to get in there and play. So I have an appreciation for the talent level. On the other hand, I have a real appreciation for the team coming together and getting going in a common direction. And then, if you will, getting into a can-do-it mode and winning together. And that stuff is contagious. The biggest differential is how you come together as a team, and that's both mentally as well as physically.
Jerry, humongous storyline in the offseason. Dak seems tired of talking about it, which we understand. His interceptions, 0 interceptions, and 0 turnovers as a team. Can you talk about the improvement so far in taking care of the football?
I sure can, and of course, I don't know when I've ever seen anything so well covered about how deliberate we were to change some things. We obviously went in a different direction relative to our play caller. We could do that because Mike was there. But then you had to go in the right direction, so to speak, and to take what we have in Dak Prescott, which is such a positive with the kind of experience he's got and the kind of time that he's had with the staff and with Mike. But to take what we were and then adjust to do some things that would really help Dak. Now that's you've got to go do that. You've got to technically step in there and do it. Well, you can see, and the way that came together out there Sunday, you could see the adjustments that we have made from last year to this year, and you could see the approach and what Dak's trying to do. But then you could also see some of the things that we benefited from having done with Dak, what we've done over the last several years. And all of that would have had to evolve and take some time. So I think Mike, as of this past weekend, should take a bow, so to speak, because his fingerprints are all over that game the way we played it out there Sunday.
Jerry, you've said before that it's in Dak's DNA not to turn the ball over, that's something that he's averse to. If that's something that's already in his DNA, why did you guys feel the need to make schematic changes to limit turnovers?
Well, let me just put it this way. The thing that we're seeing, and this is just almost obvious, you doing it because it is Dak. Dak, a lot of players might not have made these adjustments, whether they're nuances or whether they're significant. But we knew that Dak Prescott was the best we had ever seen at taking these adjustments, if you will, or playing the game the way we're playing it. We knew he's the best we've ever seen at taking it from the classroom to the practice field to a game plan. And, of course, that's what you're seeing out there. Now, we've still got, as you saw out there, that was no accident before the game. Mike had said not only just he was making the calls on whether to take the ball or whether to take it at the half. All of that was well thought out and well preconceived. And Dak's going deep early, all of those things, and the design of how that's set up, the running game. And yeah, now we say, well, duh, and that's the way it is with every coach. No, what it is done with what we were trying to do with Dak to get him better protected, to get the ball out quicker, and if you will, give us a chance to get the ball on the run, catch the ball and run after catch. All of that is a part of what you're seeing out there.
Jerry, it felt like during the game there was a couple of times, especially when they got in the red zone, that Mike was just content with, let's just take a field goal, take some points. They can't catch us. Do you think that was by design, that more conservative approach in the red zone?
No, I don't think we're satisfied at all with what we did in the red zone. If you want to look at anything about the game Sunday, that's where we need to get better. On the other hand, to be able to step back and put those kind of points up there kicking field goals, man alive, think of what that does to the opponent. That just go out there and rack up those kind of points kicking 5 or 6, 7 field goals. Shoot. And so, but we can't be satisfied with being in short yardage situations there as we have scoring opportunities, not come out with touchdowns. We've got to, that really is the one thing in our meetings that we had yesterday. The one thing that was really emphasized is that we've got to get some, we've got to get in there and get scores, get in that end zone.
Jerry Jones here on The Fan. In what areas can you guys actually improve besides the red zone in which you talked about?
Oh, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. We got some of it by getting the snaps on offense that we did. We had some young offensive linemen, Richards and Bass. Boy, did they have some good snaps. And that's improved. That is dramatic place to gain on it, was being able to get them to get those snaps. And, of course, that's what we need. We need that depth in the offensive line. And we got to work on that the other day against top-flight competition, or practice time, if you want to call that practice, because that defensive line of the Jets is something to talk about. And to have our young guys in there getting those snaps, playing well, by the way, really playing well. You couldn't do any one thing and help this team more.
Jerry, there were Brandon Cooks missed this game. Tyler Smith missed another. We know Zach Martin had to come out late. You mentioned having to get Richards and Bass in there. Where do things stand right now in terms of their outlook for those three guys, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Smith, and Zach Martin?
Well, first of all, when you name those three, and I'm thinking we had parts of that game that we didn't have those three in there, and yet we had that kind of game, it blows my mind. And, of course, we are holding our breath. We're waiting on Tyler Smith. Got a real shot here Sunday. And then, of course, you know what Cooks means to this thing, and meant to us out there the other day by not having him. And that was even more impressive how we stepped up with our passing game. But Cooks, I'm anticipating him being ready. He was close there Friday or Saturday when we were checking him out. He was close to playing. So I think we can see those guys working in this week, all of them you were talking about, and Martin doesn't look like he's going to miss play time as far as I can tell.
Jerry, something that I haven't heard mentioned a lot, but we've harped on it over the years, is the penalties. And it feels like y'all are playing cleaner games with lesser penalties. I think you have the 10th fewest in the National Football League. Can you talk about that improvement and why you think it's happened?
Well, I can't really articulate penalties without being negative, frankly. When you have too many of them, when you say, we've just got to do a better job of not having penalties. That is so ridiculous to say penalties hurt. Do a better job. We've got to tell players to be more disciplined, think about it, that type of thing. So it's always been kind of a almost philosophical thing, the penalties. The game was a clean game. I'm going to be very positive here and say, to me, it shows, especially on offense, that the team is confident in what we're trying to do. They know what to do. And so they're got just mind on execution, and a part of execution is subconsciously what you're doing penalty-wise. Yeah, I think I know what we put into this thing, the numbers of coaches we have. I know the intensity that they emphasize the importance of not stopping drives and stopping possessions with penalties. So I'm looking at the offensive side of the ball there. On defense, aggressiveness. We want the aggressiveness. We want to play through that ball. We want to go out there and play as though the ball is ours, not the offense. It's the defense's. Catch the ball. Go get the turnover. And at the same time, be aggressive, but watch your penalties. I just think we're doing penalties, if anything, because we're getting to be as aggressive as we are on defense. That's ruling the day when the officials look at it. And I think offensively, we're just getting pretty good at executing what we put in.
Jerry, as a big soccer fan, I couldn't help but notice that you had the FIFA president at AT&T Stadium on Sunday. How enjoyable was that, and the pitch to get the World Cup final at AT&T Stadium?
Well, when I think about how big soccer is around the world, and you're sitting there with the people that kind of have the controls in their hand relative to the game itself, it was mind-boggling. Again, for me, one of those moments that you just have to pinch yourself and say, is this a dream? Have I gone to heaven and I'm looking down? And that's what this is. But when I think about what soccer is around the world, then it's all awesome. The governor of the state of Texas was there, and he was basically helping me emphasize just how important that game, the big game, the last game would be to get to have it at the stadium, what we could do with that, why Texas, why this area is where that World Cup final would flourish the best, would show the youth of the world, if you will, what we've got here in the U.S., and no place to say it any better than the stadium here in Dallas for Texas to do it. The governor was very helpful, but we both were all aware of just how football around the world is so followed. It's a privilege, though, to get to do it and sit there and think, my goodness, just to think that we get to possibly talking about having the single greatest game that you can have in a sport that billions and billions of people follow around the world.
Jerry Jones, every Tuesday, brought to you by Ford, built for Texas, built for you. Last one, Jerry, and you commented and spoke with the media after the game. If you want to have those comments speak for themselves, totally up to you. But we wanted to give you a chance for the radio audience to address or respond to this Jim Trotter story, or you can have the comments after the game speak for themselves.
Well, I don't have a lot to add. In general, the issue was being criticized for, in some manner, implying that there was something other than the best spirit, best actions in me for being fair relative to biasness or relative to race, and that was just inaccurate. That allegation is just inaccurate, completely. And I'm very active, and I'm very positive about having minority potential ownership in the National Football League, and am active in that direction. The main reason I'm qualified to say that to anybody that would fit that bill is because I came from the back of the pack to get to be a part of ownership. And I certainly was not listed anywhere in the thousands and thousands and thousands of people on this earth as someone that was financially qualified to own an NFL team, and in doing so have influence from the position of ownership. But my position is the opposite from what I was being critiqued for, and it just didn't happen that way. So it was not accurate. And again, for those that haven't read this or think it's as important enough to be talking about, the defensive of it is I understand because I know the times we're in, and but I want to be a good soldier here.
Well, look, thank you for addressing it, as always, whenever we have these types of topics. And if you care anything about superstition, you will change the name of this show again next week, and let's keep this thing going. 3 in a row.
Well, listen, to both you guys, I really appreciate being on with you, and tell Bobby to keep bringing the coffee.
Hell yeah.
Guys.
Thank you, Jerry.
You bet, guys.